Hey class, hope you guys are good. Okay, I'm just making this video for those of you who were absent on the day that we went through figuring out how to select and fluidly move through the program without having to single-handedly click on the layers. Okay, what we did in that class was we learned how to create new layers and name them as well as merge them. So what we had done, we had created one layer and named it red, and then we created a new layer and named it blue. Then we had selected our color to match with the name of the layer. So in this case I have the red selected already, as you can see indicated over here in my color. Click and then select the blue layer, select blue from the swatches, and then click. Then we were going to moving them. So let's select the move tool by going over to our panel here, selecting the first icon at the top or hitting V on your keyboard to select the move tool and practice moving them around so that you know this is what the move tool does once you have the layer that you want selected and the layer that you want to move. And as you can see, the blue layer is highlighted. That's why we're able to move this layer. Now if you wanted to move the red layer, we simply go over here, layers, select it, and then now we can move this red circle independently. In fact, another handy way of making your selections, well, choosing to select an object within Photoshop, which is the auto select feature. You simply go to the menu, top of the menu bar with your move tool selected. So if you don't have the move tool, please hit V on your keyboard or select it in the tools and then turn on your auto select. Now if you look in my layers, you would see that I have the blue layer selected, which would be this blob right here. You know your colors. Now that you have the auto select turned on, Photoshop understands that anywhere you click with the move tool, it's gonna try and select that pixel no matter what layer it's on, without you having to go and select the layer yourself. So it speeds up the process with you having to move all the way over here to just to select the red layer to move it. So in this case, now that the blue is selected and we want to move the red, we simply click on it and move it. So Photoshop knows that we want to select that layer. So that's a pretty neat feature that you should take a note of if you want to work like that, or if you want to use, you know, the normal way of selecting layers, which is going independently and going through. That's good for when you have a little bit of layers within the program, okay? But for in scenarios where you might have lots of layers, I'm going to show you quickly by creating a few new layers. That's just a quick way of selecting your objects. So even though within all these you could have so many layers that you can't see the top or bottom part of where you started your project, and you can simply click and it would go all the way down no matter where the layer is. We did also go through moving layers on top or beneath each other. So we just select the layer and drag it to where you want, and it will be above. Now we have the red layer. Let's turn off the auto select by turning it off. Yeah, that click should be gone. And we have the red layer selected. If we move it over the blue one, you would see that it's covered now. But if you wanted the blue one to be on top, we have to select it in the layers because it's beneath the red one, as you can see right now, and move it by holding and clicking and dragging it above. So now you can see that that layer is above. But just remember about the auto select. If you're comfortable working that way, then you can always turn on the auto select feature to move things around in the program. What we did, we also merged these layers because there are some cases where you would need to merge images in order to create another image within Photoshop or to achieve a certain effect. Now to do that, you would have to hold on Shift on your keyboard or Control to non-contiguously select layers, but in this case we only have two, so we only need to use the keyboard shortcut Shift click and then right click and then select merge layers. Okay, so now the two layers are one, and it will keep the name of the layer that was above it, and in this case the blue layer was the layer that was above the red layer, so it took the name of the layer above it. Okay, so we can move these layers as one now. Now if for some reason that you brought an image into Photoshop and the particular shape that you want to select was probably a circle of an object, maybe like a dome or a wheel of a vehicle, you would go to your Marquee selection tool. You could hit M on your keyboard to get it, or you could go up to your tools panel right beneath the move tool, and in this case I have the ellipse Marquee tool selected. If you're seeing the square, you simply hold down the icon and you will toggle through the options available within that tool. Okay, so you want the shape of the selection that you're going to use to select your object. We have a circle, so it will be best to use a circle to select a circular object. Okay, so I want to be able to move the blue circle, so I'm going to drag over it. Now once I release, you would see some matching and selecting the areas that I want. As you can see, the particular selection is not perfect, meaning it's not over the shape that I want. This could have been a wheel, and what would happen if I wanted to move this selection of pixels, let's hit the move tool or hitting V on your keyboard. If I move this selection, only what's within the selection would move. So let's move it and see. Okay, so it would remain, the remaining pixels would be right there, and we're gonna deselect by hitting Control D or going to select in the menu bar and selecting deselect. Okay, and once you deselect, that action that you did becomes permanent if you want it to. Okay, so now you can move your creation. Okay, now let's undo. I remember teaching you guys the special undo called the step back, which is Control or Command Alt Z. If you hit Control Z right now, it will only go back to the last action that you did, or redo it if you keep doing that. But if you hit Command Alt Z, it will go right back to where you were, and even as far as deselecting the object. Now let's go back to our Marquee tool by hitting M on the keyboard, and we're going to select the entire circle. Now again, if you notice, as I'm drawing my selection, I still didn't get it perfectly around the object. In a scenario like this, no fear, all you need to do is hit the space bar and you're able to drag your selection over the object to fit it as much as possible. Now let's say that during when you were making the selection, you wanted to select the red, but you went the wrong direction and selected the blue. You can independently move the selection over to the red one, but once you're holding down the space bar while you're dragging, and then once you release the space bar, you can continue to draw or create your selection using your Marquee tool. But we want the blue layer selected, so let's hit the space bar with our shape drawn, ensuring that you're still clicking and holding the click, and then you can release the space bar and you still have your shape that you can draw. Now to confirm your selection, you simply release and you will see the matching ants around the object. Now what we also went through was moving the object. Now once it's selected, you hit the move tool or V and you can move it independently. Now what happens, the pixels, the selection will conform to the pixels that it has selected. There are no other pixels around it because we drew perfect circles, so that's why you see it conforming to the object like that. So I think that was it. That was all that we went through for that time. Actually, yeah, no, we did go through the blending modes as well, so let's quickly go through that before I close off this video for you guys who missed it. So let's hit Control D to deselect, or go to select in the menu bar and then hit deselect. Alright, let's go all the way back to when we had our independent layers. Okay, to go into the blending mode. So the blending mode, you can find that above the layers, the topmost part of the palette over here. Hit the drop down with the two little triangles and you would see all the options available. Okay, let's what blending mode does, it affects the pixels beneath each layer or above in some cases, And to show you that example, I'm going to move the blue layer and apply a blending mode, and you will see it affecting the pixels beneath it, which is the red layer. So let's choose dissolve. You see you have a grainy effect, and you can just use your down arrow if you're using a Windows, because your blending options will still be available. You just hit down and you will see darken, multiply, and so forth and so forth. You just see the pixels reacting to the settings. Okay, so the same thing would happen if you had an image open and you duplicated the image on another layer and then chose your blending mode. You would see how the pixels react individually. Okay, so let's put it back to normal, and we have our layer, and I think that was it. If we miss anything, you guys can give me a quick reminder and I'll just run over it with you guys after class. But I think that was it. Trust that you guys are, who missed it, are at least a little bit up to speed now, and that you won't be left behind. So good luck. Let's have a good class next time. See you soon.